Welcome to another one of our videos here. This is Davi speaking, and today we're going to take a look at this, my brother. A debate that almost turned into a fight. The pre-debates are happening, right? But before we see this between a Bolsonaro supporter and a PT supporter, I want to make it very clear, because it happens from time to time. Someone always comes here and asks, Davi, did you say they were the same? Man, that really bothers me because we have the videos, everything we do today, good or bad, on the internet gets recorded. Even if the guy deletes it from the channel, even if sometimes the content itself gets taken down, someone saved it, and in this case, my videos are still online. I recorded it, I even went to my polling station, and I made it clear that we needed to avoid Lula at all costs. Even if Bolsonaro wasn't ideal, we needed to avoid Lula, because he would be a vengeful government. I even explained that, right? All the statements, what they actually meant in practice, the alliances he was making, it would be a vengeful government. I warned the CAC crowd, who were very satisfied, right? It was very simple to get a gun. You just became a sport shooter, got the CAC license and signed up, right? At some shooting club, there were several opening up. Even here on my avenue where I live, on the avenue, there were 2 shooting ranges, 2. Ask if there are any today. After Lula won, he shut everything down, just as we expected. So it was a revenge government. I said they'd censor social media. I explained why. It's all there, my brothers. That annoys me. I'm saying this to you here, but I'm saying it because I'm upset. Because it makes me angry. Because the videos are out there. Damn, go back and see if I'm lying. It's there on the channel. I said it's a government of revenge. Targeting more than just politicians. The politicians and authorities who made it possible for him to be arrested. But he was also going to go after social media, which was the main tool. I said this in the past. Really? And there are still people who don't get it. There are people who keep saying the same thing, as if they were immune. Really? When Molusco keeps adding tax after tax, he's destroying old cars. It's sad. I was talking here with a friend of mine, a great friend, who has 2 Santanas, right? We still don't know? Both cars have the same issue. I'm telling you, it's the fuel. The car is made to run only on gasoline. And you're running it with 32%. Then I gave an example. I said, look, get a glass of Fanta, fill the glass with Fanta for me. And then you put 32% Coke in that Fanta and tell me if it's still the same thing. You can do that with juice or anything. It turns into a mess, right? And it's the same thing with fuel. So it's the government of revenge, man. We warned about this, so I recorded myself going there, right? As much as I was against it, as much as I don't approve of Bolsonaro's government, it was still better than Lula. I say this all the time. I've always said it. He follows so many scoundrels, he can't remember who said what anymore. It was Davey who said it. No, I didn't say that. What I say and repeat is that these sides serve the same system. They answer to the same master, but they have totally different ways of operating. Right? The left is like that bootlicker who does things to make the situation worse. The other one goes more slowly, respecting the people more. If you must speak from these scoundrels, choose the least bad one. That's our situation. I don't believe in the system anymore, right? I've already told you I have no proof, and if I did, I'd be in jail, and I'm not even questioning that. I'm just saying I don't trust the system, right? The position of these authorities not wanting improvements in the system. I've never seen anything like that in my life, right? Imagine if Ferrari or Porsche had thought like that. No, I've already made the perfect car. I don't want better suspension. I don't want more power. Just leave it the way it is. Imagine how things would be today, right? Those brands would have disappeared by now. So these guys have these machines and they don't accept any improvements at all. Very strange. So I think whoever goes there ends up legitimizing the whole thing, right? Anyway, let's check out this debate, folks, because it was a total mess. And Walter Cid, my great friend here, the warrior who's always with us, he knows I appreciate a good mess. We appreciate a good mess. So let's check out this mess here. I think if you're against PT supporters, this is going to be hard to swallow, right? But what can we do, right, my brothers? Alright, let me put it up on that little screen. There, all set. Let's go. Let's listen, everyone. Man,
I'm 64 years old. I'm not messing around at all, man. What the hell is this? Yes, you are messing around, sir. I'm telling you, man, tomorrow morning, I'm going to push you, man. Bring it on. What the hell is this? Hit me? Bring it on. You are playing with human life. You are a braggart.
Let me tell you, PT supporter, that you're playing with human life, my brother. Come on, it's a human life.
Rafael Ventura asked, Arruda, did you treat COVID with ozone?
The ozone thing was crazy, right? It was ozone in the rectum, right, my brother? You're out of your mind.
No, I was treated with chloroquine, ivermectin, azithromycin, vitamin D, and zinc. That saved thousands of people around the world. It didn't save anyone. It needs to be clear. You need to make it clear that you're a doctor. You don't have to be a doctor to know numbers, right? Dr. Zebaldo treated 8,000 patients. But are you a doctor? 8,000. Are you a doctor? No. He published his study. He did? Yes. Look, I'll look it up. But you have to know before saying these things. The nonsense you're saying, you have to know. It's not nonsense. It is nonsense.
There you go. Why is that doctor in trouble in the US today? Because of this. My brothers, we have to respect what's official, understand what the authorities are doing, okay? But being blind is another thing. Yeah, we know that today there's an industry of making people sick. Yeah, if you have something that can't be patented, something cheap and accessible to the people, and you're an industry that makes a living selling something expensive that people need, are you going to work to encourage people to use something that's cheap and accessible? Man, it's like, it's surreal, right? But they keep saying, no, but is it published? Who's going to publish this? Nowadays, for you to prove the effectiveness of any medication, right? There is only a path forward, my brother, if you have an industry behind you. That's literally how it is. The days of someone discovering something and just running tests are over. Now they require a lot more. No, you have to do the test with small animals first, then move on to bigger animals, then with a group of people, then you need 10,000 people to test it for 5 or 10 years to see if your treatment is really effective. And you have to pay these people, right?
Because no one is going to do that for free. No one is going to be your guinea pig for free.
They're doing the test, right, regularly to show what this person's levels are to prove it, right? Finally getting the license for your medication. Just imagine, right? 10,000 people you're paying for 5 years, for 10 years. Man, it's surreal. No one is going to approve anything that's cheap and accessible. That's the truth. The way the rules are today, we understand that yes, things have to be strict. Otherwise, anything gets approved and it could harm people's health. Alright, but it's also naive not to realize that there's this other, pretty dark side, where nothing will ever get approved. So today, right, and we even saw this during the trial, here in Brazil, unfortunately, family, I have to watch my words in this country that's under a curse, right? Unfortunately, this country really is a mess, but we can't speak the truth, can we? I have to keep watching what I say here, because if I speak out, the video gets taken down, right? Yeah, it's labeled as misinformation. But right in that trial in the United States against the doctor who came up with all that, the behavior that should have been followed, right, applied during that terrible period we went through, right, with Sungamonga, they said they used that same vitamin. That's when the guy said it, right? I don't want to use another word for medication in the context of this conversation because of the algorithm. But let's go on, let's keep listening. This guy, just because of that MST hat, man, and that shirt, we already know, right? He's not worth a damn.
Let's go. And that doctor there is another scammer too, who just keeps selling courses. You go to his website, you go to his Instagram. He's selling courses. Scammer makes money off people's deaths.
Isn't it better for the guy to sell courses and let people buy if they want, instead of invading others' land, my brothers?
That doctor is a scammer. You saved everyone. Nobody died with him. Nobody. And all those medicines you mentioned existed before the pandemic. They were useless. We still had the pandemic. But then they were supposed to be good for everything. If they had worked, they would have saved lives. If it had worked for anything, people wouldn't have died. You never studied this. You have no idea what you're talking about. He wouldn't have died. You are brainwashed leftist. You don't know what you're talking about. You're playing with people's lives. No, you're the one playing. You're playing with people's lives. How many people were dying each day? How many? Check who took it and who didn't. How many died? Ask the doctor about the people who didn't take it. Why didn't this solve it? It did. What didn't solve it was the vaccine. Why were people dying? The vaccine didn't solve anything. Those who didn't take it were dying. My God. So let's go. You're dangerous, right? Let me talk about something serious. You are dangerous. Look, you are dangerous. There was an appellate judge here, a judge of color, who died. You learned nothing. You learned nothing. Why didn't the old man's mother from the van take it then? Ask her, damn it. So why doesn't it work? It worked for everyone and it still works today. Not for anyone. There isn't any study, randomized study, not several, none. Go study, my God. No. Damn, the guy doesn't study and wants to talk nonsense. Go study. Don't talk nonsense in front of me. Don't say it. Several, damn it. They die. People die. Die of what, damn it? Die of what? The ones who died were the ones who didn't take the medicine.
Now, family, talking about the high number, right? I was talking to a family this week, you know? And at that time, there was an accident with one of their relatives, right? Someone from their household, actually. They lived with them.
It wasn't a distant relative.
And the guy died, right, in this accident. And on his death certificate, they put Sungamonga, right? And then we were talking what was happening. The municipalities that were receiving were getting classified, right? When the rates were high, with many people dying from this problem, then they were receiving help, right? Financial help to fight the terrible disease. I keep thinking, could this be related, you know, to so many mistakes being made like that?
These were people who were already in bad shape, right? They were already in the hospital with problems, and then they die, and it would get labeled Sungamonga.
Strange, right? Because it seems like they did it on purpose.
Let's go, let's keep going. Now go ahead.
Let me talk. I've been studying this for a while and I'm telling you straight, man. You are Lula, that crap from PT. I should punch you, man. I read to doctors here, ready for you. You're playing with human life. Which doctor did you talk to? Hold on. Which doctor did you talk to? Not a doctor. What is science? What is science? Science is the doctors. You don't even know how it works. It's Velka, cut it. Let me speak. With that big mouth, playing with human life. Let me speak. Let me speak. Don't say nonsense in front of me. Let me speak. I am my own friend. Which doctor did you talk to? That's what you don't understand. It's not a doctor. It's not a doctor. It's a study with a number of people. Exactly. It's not a doctor. It doesn't exist. The report that was presented in the American Midwest just now, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. No, they presented a lie. You're the one who thinks you know everything. No, just look it up. Just look it up. I'm a doctor, no hint. Just look it up. I do my research, damn it. I do my research. Hold on, let's put it up. Hold on. Let me talk. Wait. Do you know how much the death toll went up in Paraná after the vaccine? The camera almost fell. Do you know how many died? Then I'll tell you. Beto Preto, Goiás criminal who refused early treatment in do Paraná after COVID because of the vaccine. The death rate from 0 to 22 years old increased 64. That's a lie. I have a double record at the notary office.
That's funny, family. I remember when it started to increase, right? And that's also data, the cases of thrombosis, right? Then they said it's because people are driving a lot, especially truck drivers and so on.
Be careful, bus drivers. You who drive for rideshare apps, start doing some exercises now. I say, man, since when have people been driving? How many years has it been? Then suddenly, something new shows up during that period. The rate of thrombosis, the thrombosis rate increases, and people are going to attribute it to something that already existed in the past, instead of talking about the obvious.
It's surreal, right? What this rotten media does, and how it influences guys like that, right, my brother? When I see a guy with a PT cap and shirt, to me it's the same as seeing a convict, you know? He looks like he has criminal written on his forehead, even if he isn't one. That's just the impression I get.
I don't know about you guys. The other day I went to get pastries and saw two guys from the MST. I didn't stop. I saw those guys and decided to go somewhere else.
We don't like the pastries there, but I said the ones over there are less bad today.
That's it, my brother. Yeah? I don't even go there. Look!
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Sir, you're a liar.
Sir, you're joking. You're joking. You're playing with human lives, sir. You're a liar. That's a lie. Mind your own business. Anyone at home, just look it up. Anyone at home, just look it up. Search, you can search, you open it, and you don't see who dealt with it. Put it on the screen, man. Felsa, put it on the screen. Put it on the screen. Look there. The worst thing is dealing with ignorant people who don't study. The worst. Felca muted the microphone. Sir, you don't study. Sir, you don't study. He cut the microphone. There's the 64K. I'm not joking at all, man. You're the one joking. Let me speak. Gentlemen, and you, joking with, I talk to the master in the morning. No way. What the hell is this? Damn it. Come on. What the hell? Hit me. Come on. Calm down. Respect, man. You're playing with human life. I step back. You're playing with human life. You are show off. Let me speak, please. Calm down. Calm down. You are show off. Calm down. Let me speak.
How can you respect someone who's talking to the other guy? It's complicated. For defending something that already existed, something that was already there, something that's being talked about. Today, I repeat, in the trial of the doctor in the United States, who helped a lot of people, and we know that, right? And the guy wearing the shirt of the party that always defended. The prohibition of people working, right, of honest citizens supporting their families, because that's the truth. The economies of nations all over the world are fragile today. It was a period of great indebtedness. And that's funny, right? You saw the actions of international organizations, the one with an O, the one with an N, the one with a U. I'd rather not say their names. But anyway, that organization there, it sent a bunch of restrictions. Look, you can't stay close, you can't go to the beach, you can't work, you can't do business, all based on that so-called doctor from the United States. At the same time, other big financial institutions, those that lend money with interest, like the BIS, like the Federal Reserve, and so many others, right? These guys didn't stop charging nations interest. The nations kept paying, right, going deeper into debt. In other words, with their economies weakened, work, the thing that creates wealth, is banned. They kept charging interest. So look how interesting this is. See, if there really wasn't a push to make this happen, it's no wonder all this drama is blowing up now. This drama, my brothers, that's happening now, it's a consequence of that period. You can be sure of that. Especially the big ones there, now they're having to absorb other nations. Look, the United States, Russia, even China itself. Why are they doing this? Trying to invade other countries and so on. Picking fights with other countries. They're after resources, my brother. You can be sure of that. We know, as much as I like Trump's work and think his actions end up helping much more than hurting, his actions in Venezuela were for oil, right? It wasn't to help the Venezuelan people. He doesn't care about Venezuelans, right? Now, the good thing about when a country like the United States acts in another country that's completely dominated by tyrants is that the people get another chance there, you know, to start fixing things. But that was the reason, right? He is not a superhero with a cape. Now this guy, look at this. Look at him here. I don't know if you all can see it. But man, it's really complicated to look at a guy like this, right? Talking about life. Defending a party that we know, right? Has always been in favor of these restrictions. Awful, family. Let's move on.
Man, damn, I'm going to listen to their nonsense. Sir, it's Paul Farrão.
The show is mine. What's happening?
You brought to my audience Peter Markle, doctors with amazing resumes with Zé Mandela. Ciao.
Let me say my part. I'm dying to talk. Just kidding.
Man, look, I'm playing with human lives. There's already a clip.
You're playing with human lives.
You are playing with human lives. You haven't learned anything. You haven't learned. Why isn't any country in the world vaccinating children? Tell me, no country in the world vaccinates children. No.
No. Let me speak. Why doesn't any country in the world vaccinate? Let me go. Let me speak, guys. Eugenio, let me talk. Let me tell you what happened to me. Come on, damn it. Let me tell you what happened to me. Let me tell you what happened to me. Congressman.
Breaking character.
I had a 28-year-old brother who, when he was in the ICU, Bolsonaro came in imitating people who were short of breath. My whole family, it was never like that.
O Globo, it was never like that.
My whole family voted for Bolsonaro. My brother died at 28 without a vaccine. Without having the chance to see if this shit work or not. He took the damn thing he had to take and it went wrong. That hurts me. So this little joke of yours about dying, that's real for someone who lost someone like I did. It hurts. Man, he was a guy who was supposed to be here with us today. He was an awesome guy. Yes, it hurts. And then you see someone imitating people who can't breathe. He never imitated that. It hurt.
He never imitated anyone. That was just an edited clip. Globo, show the full video. I never see the entire thing. Only jokes about me.
I'll watch the full video, and if it's true, I'll apologize and say,
He didn't imitate, so apologize, because he said this. Mandetta told people to stay at home without taking any medicine. And I said they had to take medicine. What are you going to wait for? The guy stays home, short of breath until he dies? That's what he said, Bolsonaro. He was defending early treatment. Because who prescribed the treatment? Do you think he invented the treatment?
the story of the vaccine, doctor.
Constantino. Do you know Constantino?
I do.
You do. Is he bad, that doctor, an ideologist?
No.
It's him. He gave medicine to everyone. And he said there's a heart treatment with chloroquine. And Rede Globo said that chloroquine caused heart problems. This pandemic was a farce. Dosage, it's dosage, it's dosage, it's dosage. And do you know what the right dosage is? 5 pills a day. So here is Congressman Arruda say that the pandemic was a farce. Here it is, look. The pandemic, what they did with the pandemic was a farce. The isolation.
That's right, family. The guy is explaining here, look, the supporter of the Workers' Party, it's really a disgrace. No one is saying that there were no Sunga deaths. Obviously he did. Obviously some care was needed there. But what they're saying is the farce. And that's what Trump is going after. It's not about denying what happened, but to say and make it clear to the world that the measures that were taking were a farce. They were orchestrated with some kind of intent, let's put it that way, right? I was going to say another word here, but the algorithm won't let me, folks. Yeah, but with some intention that wasn't what it should have been, which was literally to save people, to save people's lives, right? But there was something, at least that's what it seems, that made them take those measures, which today is being proven. In fact, they already say, right? I haven't checked this data, but anyway, there are people who are already pointing out that nowadays more young people are dying without any history of heart disease or anything like that from sudden death, right? Suddenly, all of a sudden, the person just drops dead, like they were unplugged. And this number of people worldwide already surpasses, right, the number of Sungamonga victims. So I remember that my video, I got a strike on that video too, I included a professional in it and the professional was talking. I'm not saying it is, right? But he was a professional with over 30 years of experience, right? And he said he couldn't understand how they were putting something out there that could be more dangerous than the problem itself, you know? It's like if you said, look, the horse has a flea, let's shoot it to solve the problem. I mean, it's surreal, right? It's disproportionate. So that's basically it. If you get it, right? It's annoying, family. I almost didn't make this video because you have to talk like this. Without being able to be direct. Let's go. It must be 700.
700,000 people died. Luis didn't die either. But which countries had the most deaths? If you studied, instead of spending the whole day in shorts and a cap playing around, if you really studied, because I did, Germany did a study, and half of the deaths weren't from COVID. Because COVID made a lot of money for everyone. You profit politically from people's deaths. I don't. On the contrary, you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You two start, little lady, trying to gain political capital in the middle of this madness over people's deaths. The truth is out in the open. The farce is over. Really wide open. The farce is over. More than 88% of people from Paraná took both doses. They took it. So what? People from Paraná believe. But aren't you afraid of losing? People from Paraná aren't crazy. Think about it. Do you see anyone giving vaccines to children? That's another discussion.
Family, I'll leave the link there so you can follow along, right? I'd rather stop here, my brother, because man, this is a terrible topic, family. We're living in a dictatorship, right? I'd like to share a special video with you here, the morning video, right? Spelling everything out. And you can be sure this video would be over 2 hours long. But there's no point in making it. It won't get through, right? It's still problematic. The narratives are still being pushed here, but what's being debated, as he mentioned, Germany and so on. And other countries, right, that are really reviewing this are calling directors, company presidents, right, who used to manufacture this medication to come and testify. All of this is hashed up here in our media, right? And unfortunately, it's not the platform's fault either. I know there are people who say this platform is garbage, it used to be better, I don't know what. You see, all the ones that tried, right, to get around it ended up falling, even Rumble itself. X, every now and then, is also under threat of being taken down. Man, it's the current legislation. If we allow these guys to come to power, these PT supporters to come to power, and you see that it's the same thing, even when they have no power, right? That the congressman is another one. He says, "You're not going to say anything in front of me." In other words, it's always this urge the left has to ban and criminalize your opinion. He doesn't actually bring any arguments that convince anyone, but he often tries to get by playing the victim.
That's what they've always done with criminals. The laws are the way they are today because they did these things, right? But then the poor guy comes from here, then movies come out showing that. He was abused as a child, then became an abuser himself because of his past, right?
So that's what they've always pushed. Anyway, my brothers, I enjoyed the debate. You tell me what you think. I think it's clear, right?
Both sides there. God bless you, take care, and we're in this together. I'm out.